All right. So as far as the accountability partner goes, you can make it fun. Like, it doesn't have to be a hardcore, you're going to call me out every time I do something wrong. Right. I think it's important what you do ask your accountability partner. But, I mean, back in college, I used to go on runs. Okay, How do we make this fun? Okay, how about a beer run? Everybody who knows me knows if Trevor's going to drink beer, he'll actually show up. Like, we know that he's actually going to go if he drinks beer.
That's how I get him to show up to this podcast. You think he's drinking coffee. It's all beer.
Yeah. Most of the time, I'm pretty loaded by the time we do this. I'm just kidding. But
just kidding.
So as far as what you ask, I mean, I've looked up a few questions that anybody in general could ask their accountability partner. And I'd say, I wrote them out here. So I've got, what are my wins? So you're going to talk to these people like, hey, I lost 5 pounds. From last week, I walked 20 minutes a day and I'm losing weight. Like, I'm making progress. Progress is power.
Yeah.
What are your losses? Okay. I didn't get up this day. I lacked on a workout. I didn't reach out to somebody who I know I should have. Okay. So then what are your fixes? Okay. What are you going to do this week? We all mess up. We're all humans. We get that. What did you realize? Okay. I realized when I drink 12 beers a night, I can't get up at 5 and run.
Right.
Okay. What are you going to do about that? So once you realize your fixes, then it's important to, obviously gratitude is huge no matter what you do.
Yes.
I think that's a practice everybody should put in their life. So tell them what you're grateful for. Okay. Right. Like, hey, I'm grateful. Although I cut down I cut down to 6 beers, but I got up at 5:30. I didn't get up at 5.
Right.
But I still got 10-minute walking. I'm still making progress.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing to focus on though too, is be honest about those losses. 100%. Don't hide those losses. And we're doing our waking up at 5 a.m. thing. There's been days that we've messaged each other like, yep, didn't get it today. Be honest about it. But we also don't dwell on it, right? Because if you just focus on your losses the whole time, be honest about your losses. But if you focus on them, you're going to really bring yourself down, right? When athletes look at tape, they don't look at everything they did wrong all the time, because then they get in their head and they focus on those mistakes and they make mistakes more and more and more. But when they focus on, okay, here's what I did wrong, but like you said, your fixes, what can I do to improve that? What could I have done slightly different there? Okay, that's great. Then also pay attention to your wins. Pay attention to your goals or your accomplishments, what you did well. Pay attention to that and think, what did I do to get me to that win? So what did I do wrong? What did I do right? Okay, avoid this. This is more powerful. I still woke up at 5 a.m. What, in the last 2 weeks? 12 of the 14 days? That's great. That's awesome. I could focus on those 2 days of like, I'm a failure. This is horrible. Trevor's going to hate me. All of these things. And then I would never wake up at 5 a.m. again, right?
Yeah.
But focusing on those wins, acknowledging the losses, focusing on the wins, and being grateful for what you have and how you've improved already, that's how you'll be way more successful.
And I mean, you kind of jumped right into it, but where focus goes, energy flows.
Absolutely.
So if you focus on, okay, here's what I did good, you're gonna expand that. I mean, Ed Milet in his book Max Out, he talks about blissful dissatisfaction, where, okay, for an example, he used, I love steak. Like, I'm gonna eat steak. A lot of people are wired to where they won't let themselves be happy until they hit that goal.
Yeah.
Whether they don't see as much progress as they want. But when you take a bite of a good steak, it's not like you're like, oh, I can't enjoy that. It's like, no, I want more.
Right.
So how can you change that mindset to want more steak, basically?
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I see you got the book there. Show the people what the book looks like.
Ed Milet, guys, he actually gives us a copy out for free. I bought the audiobook because I hate reading, and I'm getting better at it, but I just know I can listen to it and read it. And, if anybody who listens to this knows me, I never really got my AR points back in school. So, but yeah. Very good book. I'd highly recommend it. It's a quick read. I got it done in one night.
Yeah. A great podcast too, by the way. You introduced me to him, and I just started listening to him this week. It's a phenomenal podcast. He's a great interviewer, has great guests. I've really enjoyed it. I subscribe to now.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Good. And to kind of reflect on the accountability partner, I mean, we kind of hit it a little bit, but make a schedule for yourself.
Absolutely.
Like, if you don't know what you're going to do every morning, like you don't have to wake up at 5. Maybe you wake up at 6. Mm-hmm. Then a few weeks later, wake up at, a little bit earlier.
Right.
Whether it be a half hour, 5:45 or something.
Wake up 15 minutes earlier every week.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And do that. And it doesn't have to be, I have to make one, kind of like what you said, one change at a time is what you need to do.
Yes. Don't try to make too many changes at once. It's very difficult. I mean, some people are very much, okay, with that example of waking up 15 minutes earlier, that was going to be my goal because you were already waking up at 5 before I was. And I was like, all right, well, I'm currently waking up at like 7, right? I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to move that to 6:45 for a week, then 6:30 for a week. And I didn't do it at all. Like that 15 minutes, I was like, I'm going to sleep till 7, And then eventually I was like, all right, I'm kind of an all or nothing person. It's either like, we are posting this every week and we're going for it, or like, I'm not doing it, kind of thing. And not to be like, that's not how that conversation happened. Like, you need to post every week. And then, it's just very much like, I'm an excitable person, right? I'm like, I'm eating completely healthy or I'm not eating healthy at all. Like I can't, my brain just doesn't work in the middle ground of things, right? Yeah. So then I had to jump to that 5 a.m. Like, all right, waking up at 5, I don't care. Like, it's happening. I don't care how tired I am. It's happening. You got to find that system that works for you and your accountability partner. Small wins, though, there's nothing wrong with that.
And you guys, that's one thing too, is your accountability partner's got to realize who you are.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's one thing is, is this guy going to be more successful if he goes hardcore, wakes up, right. Has nails for breakfast with his, instead of cereal, right. Or, are we going to baby step this? Because there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. In communication with your accountability partner, which I think everybody should have a mentor and everybody should have an accountability partner. And they can be the same person, but I think those are two things that everybody needs. Two types of people everybody needs in their life. There's other types of people you need in your life, but for the purposes of this discussion, that's important. And I think being open and honest with that, you need to communicate with your accountability partner and you need to know each other's style, right? I am definitely a way more blunt and aggressive and kind of an asshole person than Trevor. Trevor's very supportive. Everybody will say he's the nicest guy you've ever met in your life. He's super nice. I don't know. I'm just trying to think, like, every morning I haven't woken up. I mean, I've never been like mean to you about it when you're like, yeah, I didn't fall asleep till like 3 a.m, so I didn't wake up at 5. I'm like, yeah, man, no worries. Like, you got it tomorrow. But I don't know. Anytime I mess up, you're like, man, that's all right. Like, you got this. Like, there's other ways to do it, man. You got this. And you're like, you were talking about, I want to help people out. And I'm like, well, it doesn't sound like you're doing anything. Like there's different styles that work for different people. And
like, let's face it, if we didn't do that with each other, then we probably wouldn't be here doing this.
Absolutely.
And, to kind of bounce off that is, one, JJ's probably the biggest suck ass in the world, which is why he says I'm nice. But also, it's accountability doesn't necessarily have to be all of that either. I know, kind of to go back to the gym story, I used to go, I was like, oh, dude, I'm going to get a 6-pack. I'm going to be jacked. Like, dude, these chicks are going to be all over me. And there was this girl that wanted to talk to me. And I was like, okay, if you want to talk to me, like I was like hardcore, like, like this chick's going to think I'm tough.
Right.
I show up at the gym at 4:30 in the morning. Like, I'll meet you there. We'll work out, goals. And sure enough, she never showed up. We quit talking. But after that, like, I went for like a month at 4:30.
Yeah.
And I have a good friend of mine where we have like the Fitbits or we had the Fitbits or whatever. And when we didn't get enough steps, we'd give each other so much shit. Yeah. Like, and I ended up being in a Fitbit group with our family. Like, it was weird. And they're like, okay, why is Trevor here? But okay, whatever. Wow, the guy can walk. Like, at least he can do something right.
Oh my gosh. No, and I think that's a great point too, of going back to finding what works for both of you. Some people, maybe you're not at the point that you can handle that ribbing on each other, right? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you and your accountability partner understand that. Maybe you are both like, you know what? I'm not there yet. I don't want that. And then maybe okay, so you and I don't give each other as much shit as what you and that other friend did, right? And that's fine. I mean, it's not that we choose like not to give each other shit. It's just that that's not what we really do. I mean, we pick on each other, but you know, when like we haven't given each other crap for not waking up at 5 on these couple of days. You and your other friend, it sounds like you guys would have crapped all over each other for that, and that's fine. You know,
I mean,
what works for you, figure that out. That's yes. And be honest with them. If they're, let's say you were ribbing on me about something, right? And I'm like, man, you know, that kind of made me feel like shit. You know,
like when I make fun of how he's probably got more hair products than my cousin does, the one that he's dating, because his hair's always so nice, and I'm pretty sure those sunglasses are glued to his head.
Yeah. They are. The sunglasses have become a thing. It's, you know, actually, funny story. This is completely unrelated. I might leave it in here anyways, just because it's funny.
Yeah.
So I've been taping my mouth shut every night, you know, to breathe through my nose, because otherwise, when I sleep, I'm a mouth breather. And I read James Nestor's book, Breath, and now
repeat that. You tape your mouth shut?
I tape my mouth shut.
Oh, this will be interesting.
It's just like a little inch of tape. You just put it, you know, over your mouth, and it keeps your mouth shut at night, so you have to breathe through your nose. Right, and there's a lot of benefits to nose breathing. Well, as you can see, I shaved since the last time we recorded, and it turns out the tape doesn't stick to my face as well as sticks to my mustache and my beard.
Ooh.
So I woke up with the tape off of my mouth. I looked all over the bed. I couldn't find it. And when I went to the bathroom to go brush my teeth, I saw that it was actually stuck in my hair up here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I had to like pull that out gently. That's how it feels to pull these sunglasses out now. They're kind of stuck in there, and gotta.
Yeah, I didn't even know those came out.
I know, this is the first time anybody's ever seen me with that. Wow. Even on my other podcast, all of my pictures, I have it in there.
Well, and that's another benefit of the tape on the mouth is I didn't realize we were giving out relationship advice in this podcast, but they get along so well when he doesn't talk.
That's true. Yeah, usually when I'm tired and I'm not thinking as straight of like, should I say this or should I not say this? I'm not as smart at night, so
genius. I bet if I duct tape my mouth, more girls would probably talk to me as well.
Probably. You should probably do that.